An undercover boss gets shocked when his employee, fires him. I mean, I find this like just so funny because like a lot you guys probably have experienced this before. Like you've worked at companies where they create this like super pressurized environment. This has got to be done, at this time, it's got to be done like this, like that. They put you under so much pressure and urgency that it's just like, is the company going to go bust if the report isn't handed in, by 3 o'clock or whatever the target is that they've given you? No, the company's going to be fine. So I'm guessing the boss of this company is just completely unaware of the pressure that they put the employees under and what it's actually like to work in that environment. I'm guessing he couldn't meet the standards that he's put in place at his own company.
On today's exciting episode of Undercover Boss, we're showing you 2 episodes featuring 2 bosses that are faced with the worst employees in Undercover Boss history. Will these bosses deal with the situation, and will these employees get what they deserve?
No excuse to be rude to a customer, Danielle. It's just common sense.
Tune in to find out. We will first look at the president and CEO of Buffet Inc., Anthony Weedo.
I'm Anthony Weedo, President and CEO of Buffets Inc.
Headquartered in South Carolina, Buffets Inc. is America's largest buffet provider, and they have restaurants in 35 states with 350 locations and employ 18,000 people in total.
Crazy. It's quite a big company, but I'm guessing because they've got no presence here in England. I've just never heard of them, but this is obviously quite a big business. Have any of you guys ever eaten at this place before?
Total. And with all this manpower and locations, Buffets Inc. serves more than 100 million guests a year and earns more than $1 billion in revenue. Buffets Inc. was started 30 years ago as a small family restaurant, and they soon became very popular, and they expanded really fast. At their peak, the company had a revenue of $1.7 billion, but the company was not able to sustain the growth, which led to multiple bankruptcies in just 5 years. Anthony was brought in to fix this mess, and he'd made the company stable in just 6 months, and he believes that he was made for this job as he grew up in the family restaurant business and he knows everything about it. Anthony wants to go undercover because he's still new within the company, and he wants to use the opportunity to visit the restaurants and see how things are going on the inside. He'll be going undercover as Mike, a construction worker competing for business funding to change his life.
You know what? The outfit isn't that bad. The wig is slightly slightly off, but I mean, if he walked into a store, you wouldn't think, he's wearing a disguise, would you? He kind of passes.
While I'm undercover, I'll be posing as Mike, a construction worker competing for business funding to change his life.
For his first job, he travels to Lake Charles, Louisiana to work under the manager, and he meets up with Ernest, and he takes him to the kitchen and hands him over to the dishwasher, Sky. Things with Sky don't really start well, as Sky just dumps all his work on him and just watches Anthony do it. Anthony doesn't really know how to use the kitchen's dishwasher properly, so he asks Sky to help him and instruct him, but Sky was not interested in helping him, and he was just happy skipping work that day as he could just make Anthony do everything.
Oh, Sky, come on, man. I mean, can't he see the camera? Like, the thing with these people, like, can you not see the massive camera pointing at you? Like, do they never think, I wonder why they're filming me?
But this wasn't really feasible, especially with the lack of experience that Anthony has. But things don't stop there, as Sky becomes more condescending and insulting to Anthony as time goes on. Sky wasn't really happy that Anthony was asking for help and starts to insult him, and Anthony gets frustrated with the way that he was getting treated, and he doesn't even get a proper break, as there was still a lot of work to do, and he gets angry and decides to talk to Ernest in private. Anthony then goes to Ernest and asks to talk to him in his office, and as they leave, we hear Sky insulting him back in the kitchen.
Dude was aggravating out of me with his ponytail, trying to tell me, you only gave me a 1-minute training, bitch, you're only here for a day.
And Anthony reveals his true identity to Ernest and tells him about Sky, and he tells him that the way that Sky is interacting with employees is toxic, and that as the manager, Ernest needs to remove that kind of person from the restaurant. Ernest agrees that something needs to be done and plans to talk to Sky alone, and Anthony then leaves the restaurant without finishing his shift and reports his encounter with Sky to headquarters.
I mean, do you think it's just that he couldn't handle washing the dishes. Like, yeah, maybe Sky didn't behave in the best way, but it sounds to me like he couldn't hack it. Like, he couldn't hack it, like putting the dishes in the dishwasher, and he just, was getting frustrated.
After his disastrous first undercover job, Anthony travels to Fresno, California to work as a cashier. He meets up with Michelle, and just from the start, these two have a good communication, and Michelle teaches him how to properly greet customers and operate the cash register. And although Anthony starts slow with her teaching, he does pretty well as time goes by. Later, he learns that Michelle is a very hardworking woman who was also taking care of her mom since she was young. Michelle's mom has been diagnosed with cancer, and Michelle has been the sole person to take care of her.
Shelly was telling me about her mother. I had, honestly, astoundingly strong young woman.
Michelle also has a dream of becoming a criminal profiler, but she doesn't have the money to go to college. The next day, Anthony travels to Colorado to work as a grill cook, and he meets up with Joey, who teaches him how to grill a steak. Anthony was pretty good at this job, but when the lunch rush comes, he couldn't keep up with the customers' orders, so Joey had to help out.
What I see in Joey that I really like is drive to improve his stake in life, and that's hugely meaningful to me.
On their break, Anthony learns that Joey used to be a dishwasher, and with hard work, he's now become the restaurant's cook. But this wasn't the only thing that Joey was aiming for, as he plans to be a manager one day.
A manager here, that's what I want to go to.
Yeah.
But for my own business, I want to still be a cook.
For his last job, Anthony travels to Alexandria.
Thank God. I was kind of worried that Joey would be like Sky, but thank goodness he was actually good at his job.
Louisiana to work as a server. He meets with Whitney, who takes him around the tables and shows him how to interact with customers and take orders. Anthony then tries to do the job by himself, and although he was good at taking orders, he was very awkward while talking to the customers.
Mike needs to work on how he speaks to the customer, how he approaches the customer.
If you guys been coming here a while or not?
While on their break, Anthony learns that Whitney has 2 daughters, which she and her husband support, but since their job doesn't really pay well, she's at risk of getting evicted from her apartment soon.
My landlord literally gave us a 2-week notice.
That's crazy. So both her and her partner are working, yet they still can't afford the rent on their place. That's crazy. I mean, if you're working a full-time job, you should be earning enough. Like, do you think they must be underpaid? Like, or what? Something's going on there, isn't it?
We have to find a place to stay now.
Finally, Anthony's undercover time comes to an end, and he invites his employees to one of the restaurants to reveal his true identity. First in were Ernest and Sky, and Anthony lets out his frustration with Sky and confronts him about his horrible behavior. Sky then apologizes for his behavior and explains it was because he was trained that way. Ernest also believes that Sky can change, so he and Anthony decide to give Sky a second chance and retrain him properly. Sky was grateful for the second chance and promises that he won't disappoint.
Sky, he's lucky. I thought he was going to get fired immediately. That was, good that he got a second chance. I mean, ultimately, he didn't do anything really wrong. He just kind of left Anthony to do his job for him. He didn't really do anything wrong, did he?
I got my own back so it feel relieved. It feel real good.
Next in was Joey, and Anthony was very impressed by Joey, so he offers to mentor him and also gives him $10,000 so he can buy a car.
I'm a cook at Country Buffet. He wants to mentor me, and my goals don't seem too far away now.
Awesome.
After that was Michelle, and she was a great employee, so Anthony gives her $15,000 as a bonus and another $15,000 so she can go to college to get her dream job.
I can't believe what just happened out there. I'm shocked. I haven't had opportunities since my mom passed away.
Last in was Whitney, and he tells her that he was very impressed with her and gives her a massive promotion that will double her earning, and then gives her $10,000 to pay off her car, and then surprises her with an offer to buy a 3-bedroom family home with everything paid off.
Wow. Jeez, man. I mean, congrats. The ladies definitely got the best financial rewards out of this. Holy smokes.
I just got a house. It feels like a dream come true. That is the best way to put it. It is a dream come true.
Let us now follow our next boss, the founder and CEO.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually not bad. He was pretty good. I don't really disagree with anything he did. I'm glad that he gave Sky another chance rather than just firing him, because you know, that would have been horrible.
CEO of GSI Commerce, Mike.
I'm Michael Rubin. I'm the founder and CEO of GSI Commerce, and this is my creation.
GSI Commerce is one of the largest e-commerce businesses, and they handle merchandise and shipping for other large companies and organizations like the NFL and MLB. GSI basically does everything from creating the websites to delivering the products to the customers. Mike loved business since he was very young, and when he was 8 years old, he started his own small business, which was selling stationery door-to-door in his neighborhood. By the time he was 21, he already had a business that was making $100 million a year. Being the founder and CEO of GSI, Mike is always busy. He's very obsessed with doing everything perfectly and growing the company even more, so he doesn't really have that much time to spend with his family. Mike wants to go undercover because he thinks it will help him improve the business, and the holiday market is here, and he wants to see how his employees are handling the excess number of orders that they get on this season. This will also be a good challenge for Mike, as he's always been his own boss.
I mean, just looking at his face, you can tell this guy, like, he is 100% focused on his business, which obviously has made him really successful, but it doesn't really look like he's getting a lot of sleep, does he?
And he doesn't know how well he will do being an employee. He'll be going undercover as Gary Rogers, and his employees will be told that he's part of a documentary studying seasonal jobs. For his first job, he flies to Richwood, Kentucky to work in the fulfillment center. He meets up with Matt, who's a floor supervisor, and he takes him to a seasonal worker named Rochelle. Rochelle has been at the job for only 3 weeks, but she's very good at her job, and she first shows him how to load the delivery trucks, but the job was too hard for Mike as he couldn't really keep up with the speed of the upcoming boxes.
It does seem like a lot of these guys just cannot actually do the job that they're asking their employees. Is it crazy for me to say that the CEO should be able to do any job within his or her company? Or is that unrealistic?
She then takes him to another station so they can work on just stacking boxes, and as they were doing that, Mike notices Rochelle using new techniques to be more efficient, which he really loves.
And it's employees like Rochelle that literally hold the company on their shoulders. I wish all of our employees we hired could be like her.
While working together, Mike learns that Rochelle wants a full-time job in the company, and she's really good at her job, but since she was hired just for the holiday season, she won't really be able to continue. And for his next job, Mike travels to Melbourne, Florida to work as a call center operator, and there he meets up with Adam, who mainly works on taking customers' complaint calls, and Mike at first watches Adam do his job for a few calls, and he was really impressed. Adam is always very polite to customers and always tries to solve their problem. Mike next takes some calls with the help of Adam, and he does pretty well. The two then go for a break, and Mike learns that Adam has been working for a year and that he was fired from his previous job for being late. You might ask,
I love how he's got his hat on backwards.
why Adam was late, and it was because he just lost his daughter during birth, so he skipped work for that day to console his fiancée. After their break, Mike goes to work with another employee named Danielle. And being confident in his ability, Mike takes the call next, but this call doesn't really go great as this time the customer was not taking his offer. Adam tries everything that he can, but he couldn't convince the customer, and Danielle then gets frustrated and takes over the call, and she then immediately gets into a fierce argument with the customer, which really upsets Mike, as this is really not the way to talk to a customer that was having a problem.
Hold on a minute. Mike, you couldn't solve the problem. That's the only reason why she got on the phone. So he can't really get angry at her. Like, you couldn't even deal with it.
May I speak now?
The whole point is, where is
ma'am, Elizabeth,
not getting any credit?
You're not letting me talk. You're not letting me talk, so I can't help you, Elizabeth.
Adam thinks about blowing his cover right on the spot, but before he can do anything, the call ends with the customer, as the customer just hung up the phone out of frustration. Adam then goes outside to let out his frustration and calms himself down, and Danielle was the opposite of Adam, as her only goal was just to win the argument instead of helping the customer out or fixing their problem, which is actually her whole job. The next day, Mike travels to Richwood, Kentucky to work in the fulfillment center, and he meets up with Supervisor Greg, and he hands him over to Shannon. Shannon teaches him how to properly take care of the boxes, and Mike tries his best to follow her lead, but he was too slow and only does about half of the required boxes. On their break, Mike learns that Shannon works 7 days a week to raise 2 of her kids.
7 days a week. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean,
But since she's a single mom, she struggles to support them financially. They then go to start their next shift, and this time, Mike was motivated to improve his speed, but as he gets ready to do his job, Gary returns with Mike's previously packed boxes, and he tells Mike that the boxes had multiple errors, meaning that they had to be redone, and he then tells him that he's not good enough for the job, and fires him on the spot.
wow!
And your numbers, we no longer need your services.
Nothing I can do.
No.
Mike is
Oh my God, this is embarrassing. I mean, come on, man. But then again, I suppose he's the CEO. He's not... but he still should be able to do it, shouldn't he?
shocked that he got fired for the first time ever, but he understands that he didn't do his job well, and he thanks Shannon before leaving. For his last job, Mike travels to Louisville, Kentucky to work at another fulfillment center, and he's now determined not to get fired again and actually do a good job. He meets up with Cameron, and he first takes him to the warehouse and shows him where the boxes are located. Cameron then shows him how to pick out the boxes and fulfill the orders. Mike was very impressed with how well Cameron did his job.
Everything that's gone wrong in his life and how he just turns every negative into a positive. I mean, there's no other words to describe it than amazing.
And later, Cameron starts a competition on who can fulfill most of the orders, which he unsurprisingly wins, but Mike gets to have fun and does the job as well. And finally, Mike's undercover time comes to an end, and he invites his employees to his office to reveal his true identity.
I'm not actually Gary.
The thing is, though, like, how do they not know that he's the CEO? Because don't they have like photos and stuff in the office, like of the senior leadership? Like, do you know who the CEO of your company is that you work for? I do. Or maybe it's like, maybe in America it's not really like a common thing to know that.
Michael Rubin, the founder and CEO of the company.
First in was Rochelle, and he tells her that he was impressed by her work and offers her a full-time job with the company, which comes with a big raise and a full benefits package.
I think I've got a pretty good chance at GSI of moving up and being a part of something that's absolutely wonderful.
Next in was Cameron, and he tells him that he was impressed by his work ethic and that he admires his dedication to raising his daughter well, and he gives him a $1,000 gift card for his daughter's Christmas gift, and for him, he offers him a management training program so Cameron can grow within the company.
What just happened in here was unbelievable. To have him do this for me, I couldn't thank him enough.
Hopefully he's a manager now, at least. I mean, this is probably maybe a while ago. Hopefully he's a manager now.
Next in was Shannon, and he tells her that she was a great worker and gives her a $5,000 bonus so she can spend it on her sons.
Listening and then stepping up and doing something about something I care about. It's pretty amazing.
Next in was Danielle, and Mike confronts her about her attitude, and Danielle tries to defend herself by saying that she was just at the job for a few weeks and apologizes for her behavior, and Mike decides to give her one last chance, which she accepts.
But and get to learn from the experience and hopefully improve.
I don't know, man. Like, because if you remember, like, he was the one who took the call initially. He couldn't handle the customer. He then passed the customer on to her. And the customer wasn't letting her talk. And I think she was well within her rights to say, ma'am, you're not letting me talk. We can't have a conversation if you don't let me talk. She never said anything offensive unless they cut that out of the video. So I feel like telling her off for that was kind of out of order. Let me know what you think. But yeah, this show is really, really fun to watch because it's so fun to see the CEOs struggle in like every aspect of the jobs that they're asking their employees to do. It really is kind of an eye-opener. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.